comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we got not a lot of Funko Pop announcements due to the fact that, of course, we've been waiting for Emerald City Comic-Con reveals, which have started kicking off today, realistically, as we are recording this podcast, which is the 16th of February, which we won't be talking about those, which will explain why later on. But today, we will have our What's the Haps segment to kick off. We have some Funko Pop announcements to discuss about, and then we're going to have our top 10 Funko Pops of February 2021, which, although it is not the end of February yet, we will explain exactly why we're doing it this episode instead of waiting at the end of February. So without further ado, let's kick off with What's the Haps, where we talk about what we've done this past week as terms to watching television shows, movies, playing video games, all sorts of stuff. MD, what's the Haps?
Oh, what is the Haps? So first and foremost, I've been playing pond hockey, which is awesome. I haven't played pond hockey in years and years because I was hit by a car and I basically separated my collarbone. So I wasn't able to play hockey for a while. But now I'm back on the ice, and learning how to skate again has been a little bit of a struggle. Had some Bambi baby deer moments on the ice, but that's bound to happen. But man, I just love being out there. So I've been doing that a lot. Besides that, what have I been watching recently? Nothing really, to be honest. I've just been kind of hanging out, just chilling, been playing some golf, like I mentioned before, and hockey still on Xbox. And I think I'm going to start getting some games on my gaming PC because some of my friends have been requesting that I play with them. So definitely got to pick up some games like Raft and possibly CSGO, but I haven't really decided yet. Besides that, what else have I been up to? I don't know. Not working a lot, unfortunately, but I do work tomorrow, which is good because I need that money to buy some Emerald City Comic-Con pops. So what's the haps with you?
What's the Haps with me? So going off of last week, so I finished watching Parks and Recreation the last season, and it was a great season, actually. I would say, honestly, that the last 3 seasons of Parks and Rec is better than the last 3 seasons of The Office, in my opinion. So anyone who wants to watch Parks and Rec, expect that to happen, at least in my opinion. Really great show, great ending. And of course, catching up on Riverdale, new episode this past week, which I'm surprised how good the episode was, considering I haven't really been a fan of some of the seasons, the last couple of seasons, and how they've turned out. But last episode last week was pretty good. Of course, WandaVision, newest episode this week, which, hold on a second, just going to clean the drool off my face thinking about Elizabeth Olsen in that Halloween costume right now. Jesus. But anyways, still a great episode. Can't wait to see the last, I think it's 3 episodes they're on now. I think they're doing 9 episodes for WandaVision. They're on episode 7 as of this Friday. So can't wait to finish watching WandaVision and then possibly watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. That will play, I think, after that. And then last but not least, I have been watching Dinosaurs upon the request of MD Shady here, and it has been a great show. I'm on season 3 right now. I think I'm in the middle of season 3, I want to say, and it's actually been a great season so far. I don't know exactly what season is my favorite so far. I know I really liked number 2 better than 1. But so far, I'm kind of liking season 3 better than season 2. But I'll have to see what the last half of season 3 has to offer. But Dinosaurs, great series. And just looking at the show, there should be more Funko Pops than just the 5 that Funko has released. There needs to be an Ethel. There needs to be Baby Sinclair in Ethel's chair in that one episode where he's singing Born to be Wild, which is one of the episodes I just seen recently. There's just so many. Even Spike. Spike would be a cool looking Funko Pop. All right, so now we'll move on to talking about the Funko Pop announcements for the past week, I would say. These range from February 9th up until February 15th. And of course, we did have an Emerald City Comic-Con reveal on the 15th, which was the Billy and Tommy 2-pack from WandaVision, but we will not be discussing about that until one of our upcoming podcasts, which once again, will give you guys more details on that later on in the podcast. So anyways, kicking off, announced on February the 9th is a Funimation exclusive Evil Boo, which is a metallic variant. This is available now on the Funimation website. Then on February 12th, Funko had announced a Funko Shop exclusive glow in the dark Loki from Avengers Endgame, in which it has since sold out, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it is available for anyone outside of the US, including us Canadians, over on Pop Culture's website. Then on that same day, Hot Topic had announced 3 of their own exclusive pops. One is Carnage for the Marvel lineup, and then for the DC lineup, we have Black Hand and a new variant of Deathstroke, which those are available for pre-order now and are expected to release as early as, well, this month actually, more later on in the month. Then on the 13th, Funko had confirmed on their website of a new common Miles Morales pop, more specifically Miles Morales in Advanced Tech Suit, which that is available now on the Funko Shop website, but has yet to arrive at various retailer stores. Then on February 15th, Funko had announced a Pietro Maximoff pop from WandaVision that will be a Funko Shop exclusive, and it's expected to release as early as March 2021. Then on that same day, Funko had announced new variants of Tom and Jerry for the upcoming Tom and Jerry movie, in which those are available for pre-order now and are expected to release as early as June 2021. And then the last pop we're going to be talking about for this podcast is a Super Saiyan Gohan with sunglasses that is a Funko Shop exclusive. And it did release that day on the 15th, but has since been sold out. And if I'm not mistaken, at least as of this recording, this pop is also available for residents outside of the US, including us Canadians, over on Pop Culture's website. So kicking off with Evil Majin Buu, which the overall design of this pop is really, really cool. I love the face sculpt of Evil Buu. I'm not really sure what I think about the whole metallic effect. It makes the gold color look weird, and even like the pants look kind of weird too. I don't know how many people exactly would have gotten this pop, but I'm sure there's a decent amount of people that did buy this pop. Then we got ourselves Loki from Avengers Endgame, which I'm always surprised for some reason that they're continuing making Avengers Endgame pops, even though that Avengers Endgame, of course, is the highest grossing movie of all time. So I don't blame Funko for wanting to continue making pops for this. And I totally forgot that Loki was in the movie, to be honest. I can't remember exactly what happens in this scene. I'm pretty sure Loki is like, he's in some sort of like penitentiary or something, and then he like escapes somehow, from what I remember. I can't exactly remember honestly what happens, but I know for a fact, of course, the glow in the dark aspect is the blue cube in his hand, which I kind of feel is like but I mean, of course, it's sold out. So obviously, people were hyped about this pop, essentially, especially because I don't think we had a Loki pop previously for the Avengers Endgame lineup. Then we got ourselves Carnage, which this thing looks awesome. I love the whole like half and half effect. You get to see half of Carnage and then you get to see half of Cletus Cassidy. I think that looks really, really awesome. Even the hair on Cletus Cassidy looks awesome. It's just sticking up like that. And I think this actually is supposed to be based off of like first appearance Carnage, where Cletus Cassidy is in the jail cell. And the whole story aspect is that like Eddie Brock is also in the jail cell, and like the Venom symbiote mixes with the DNA of Cletus Cassidy, which makes Carnage red, because of course Cletus Cassidy is a redhead, so that's how Carnage is red. But I just love the way that it is, where even like the symbiote is even appearing partially on the Cletus Cassidy part of the pop, and even the whole sculpt of the one side with Carnage looks awesome compared to some of the Carnage pops that we've gotten, which the Carnage pops that we've gotten are still cool, like the New York Comic Con one from 2018, even the Blacklight Carnage, which actually is the same mold now as I think about it. But just overall, this is a really awesome pop. I'm going to have to get this, especially because this is coming to Hot Topic. And it so happens actually that our local Hot Topic officially reopened today. So hopefully not only can I get this pop, but possibly I can go to our local Hot Topic for Emerald City Comic Con exclusives, depending on what gets shared there. Then we got Black Hand from a distance, when I first looked at this photo, like if you look at a far distance, it looks like he has like a gray arm, but like his hand is chopped off, like he was in Star Wars. But when you zoom in, it's just there's his fist and he's got a ring on, which I thought, okay, there we go. Now it makes more sense. I thought, man, this guy's called Black Hand and then his hand's cut off. I don't know. But the overall design of the face sculpt looks really, really cool with the mouth, even the eyes that are yellow and they kind of stand out, and it brings out the black and the gray or silver, I should say, in this outfit. Then we got Deathstroke, which I feel like there's quite a bit of people that are hyped for this because we thought we were getting a singular Deathstroke pop last year with that running one, but it ended up becoming a like moments with the Red Skull, I believe, or whatever, or Red Hood. I can't remember exactly, but it ended up being like that previous exclusive limited San Diego Comic-Con moments pop. But now we got like a normal Deathstroke pop, which I feel like a lot of people are hyped for. And I do like the overall design of Deathstroke. I think it's pretty cool. Probably won't be getting it, but it's still cool. Advanced Tech Suit Spider-Man, or I should say Miles Morales, but this is okay. I mean, we've already seen a bunch of Miles Morales pops. They're coming out with some very, very soon, especially because of the release of the Miles Morales game, I should say, on the PS5, because the PS4 version has been out for, I would say, close to a year, I want to say. I'm not exactly sure, or it came out in the fall. I can't exactly remember, but I'm kind of digging like the Spider-Man logo on the chest of this Miles Morales compared to the other ones. I think that's really cool, but overall, I don't think it's the best, but I don't think it's the worst Miles Morales pop that Funko has made. Now we got Pietro Maximoff, which very funny how he basically, like with this outfit, just debuted on the most recent episode of WandaVision. And now they're coming out with the Funko Pop of Pietro, which a lot of people are speculating in the comments and the social media posts that when Funko posts this, and actually you can see it on the box, if you look in the Funko app, it says Pietro Maximoff, but it's in like quotations. So a lot of people are thinking that this isn't actually going to be Pietro Maximoff and that it's like the main villain portraying as Pietro because of course Pietro had passed away during Avengers Age of Ultron. So now we got this Pietro and who knows what's going to happen. Still cool that they made it though. The hair looks nice. The outfit is really cool. Yeah, they did a pretty good job on this pop. Now we got Tom and Jerry, which these are pretty cool. I know there's some hype for this, but I feel like there's some bad hype because not a lot of people are excited for the movie, or at least some people aren't excited for the movie. I'm sure there are people out there that are excited for this movie. I'm sure that there's going to be some people that are going to buy them, but I don't think these are going to be pops that sell out right away, in my opinion. And then we got ourselves Super Saiyan Gohan with sunglasses. I don't know how I feel about this pop. I mean, the overall design is really, really cool with this pop. But now I'm thinking, is there actually a significance with Super Saiyan Gohan with sunglasses? Or is this going to be like the new put an anime pop with ramen noodles kind of dealio? Will there now be a Super Saiyan Vegeta and a Goku and a Piccolo and a Perfect Cell with sunglasses in the future? That's what I want to know. If anyone is a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z and knows possibly if my theory is right or wrong, comment in the comment section below. Would be greatly appreciated. I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
So starting at Majin Buu, this is all right. I mean, yeah, I don't know how I feel about the metallic. I do like the gold, which you said you did not like, but I think that that is kind of the best part of it is the gold aspects. Overall, it's all right, but I probably won't be adding it to my Dragon Ball Z collection. So then we have Loki from Avengers Endgame. I'm still yet to see the movie. I just recently watched Infinity War, and I'm kind of surprised to see that he's in Endgame because what I took from Infinity War is that Loki would be dead, but I guess that is not quite the case, and I really love this pop. I think this is great. There's a lot of detail going into it. I'm going to have to go against you on the glow-in-the-dark aspect. I think that sometimes just a subtle little glow-in-the-dark is all a pop needs, and I think it's really good in this case, especially when you look at those scenes and you see the glow-in-the-dark aspects, I guess, from the movie. And I think it just works. And there's definitely a lot of detail where you see the cuts on his head and then his whole outfit. I really think this is a super solid pop. And then we have Carnage. This is really cool. It's good to see that there's more and more Carnage pops coming out because I think he deserves it. I really enjoy the character of Carnage. I have the Ultimate Carnage comic book, the big, super thick comic book. Yeah, this one's really cool. I love how you have that half and half aspect with Cletus, but having the symbiote kind of stretching over just a little bit is a great touch. And then Black Hand, I don't know this character too much, but that mouth is definitely really, really awesome. I really enjoy it. I think there's a lot of good detail that went into doing that mouth and having those yellows pop against the blacks and the grays and obviously the little bits of silver. Overall, I think this pop is pretty good, even though I'm not familiar with the character. And then we have Deathstroke. This is an all right pop. I just feel like we've seen a couple Deathstrokes recently, like you said, with that Moments one. I feel like there was a couple more, maybe not as recent, but I don't know if we really need another Deathstroke maybe after this one. I think it'd be good to kind of give it a break for a while after that. And then next up, we have Grogu or Baby Yoda. Wait, what are you telling me? That this isn't Baby Yoda? Because it goddamn feels like it with all these Miles Morales pops. Jesus, I'm kind of sick of it. I love Spider-Man. I love Miles Morales, but none of them feel like crazy new or awesome to me. They all kind of just feel like the same pop. And I get it. They want to get like all the different skins down from the game. But geez, it's definitely a case of the Baby Yodas for sure. And then Pietro, this is really good. I really like this pop. I enjoy that in his one hand he has like the water balloon full of shaving cream. I think that's pretty funny. There's a lot of cool detail going on with this pop, and I can't wait to see more WandaVision pops and obviously to finish the series because wow, it's really good. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. And then we have Tom and Jerry. I do have the, I guess you could say, OG Tom and Jerry's now at this point. And these have a little more detail, I guess you could say, but they're pretty much the same pops overall, in my opinion. I'll probably watch this movie. If I really like it, then I might get these pops just because I feel like they would be cool to put with those other two. And then, yeah, I have no clue about the sunglasses. Just to let you know, I am a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but I'm not like, it's more of like Dragon Ball and like the first couple seasons of Dragon Ball Z. So I don't have a lot of knowledge. But overall, this pop looks all right. And clearly people are hyped over it if it's sold out already, because generally I don't think Dragon Ball Z pops sell out super quick unless they're like a limited piece count. So that's pretty cool.
All right, so that's going to be the end of talking about pops, at least for this podcast, which we aren't going to be talking about Emerald City Comic Con pops this week, at least. Although, like I mentioned earlier, that we have begun the Emerald City Comic Con reveals as of last night with the Billy and Tommy 2-pack. And then, of course, we had some pretty cool reveals today. Ones I can remember is the Transformers one. Of course, anyone who wants to know, which this will probably be the only time we get to discuss about this, considering when we talk about Emerald City Comic Con pops, it'll be the week that they release, is that Funko will be having a lottery this year for Emerald City Comic Con. And I think the deadline for the like submissions have already ended, if I'm not mistaken. And then they have to accept a X amount of people, which March 3rd, which is a Wednesday, is when the lottery winners get to choose their pops beforehand. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's already been announced that at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, March 4th, is when all of the Emerald City Comic Con pops will be released online at the retailers that they are assigned to, which of course we won't know what the retailers are until probably closer to the con. So we'll probably know them actually when we discuss about these Emerald City Comic Con pops, which we will be discussing them in 2 weeks, because next week is our Pokemon podcast, our fandom related podcast. Gotta catch them all, the Pokemon podcast, which will also include our first of a few 5 days of content on the channel, which will be a video every day from Monday to Friday. And then the following week after that would be all Emerald City Comic Con content, essentially. Especially, it'd be a good time for a couple weeks for the Emerald City Comic Con pops, because in 2 weeks marks our special 80th episode of a Funko Popcast. So might as well save all the Emerald City Comic Con pops, and then whatever's left over for February, which I think will also end with the last bit of Target Con reveals that have yet to be announced. So special 80th episode, going to be jam-packed in a couple of weeks, which is also why we're doing the top 10 this week, which is where I was going to get to, is that we're doing the top 10 Funko Pops this week because we know that there's going to be so many pops to talk about in a couple weeks that we're just going to do the update in a couple weeks and then do the top 10 right now. But without further ado, before we kick off with our top 10 list, we'll actually kick off with a segment we were supposed to do last month, but there's just so many pops to talk about last month that we couldn't do it then, which is our quarterly segment, Poptistics, which is a statistics view on our top 10 list to see kind of what pops to expect on our top 10 list, which we'll kick off first. 59.8% of the time, pops will be exclusives on our top 10 list, followed by 61.8% of the time that pops will be different from mine and MD's lists. So most of the time, pops will be different from mine and MD's list. Then there would be similar pops between both of our lists. Out of the 500 pops that have been shown off on a technicality for our previous top 10 list, 83 of them have been convention exclusive pops, while the second most goes to Funko Shop with 41, which we can only assume that, especially with the update, that convention number is going to go up. 378 out of 500 pops have been the regular 3.75 inch size pops, while the second most is deluxe with 24. Then we got ourselves 69 out of 500 pops have been in the pop television lineup, while the second most goes to animation with 54. But without further ado, now we can kick off with our top 10 list for the month of February 2021 so far. And I say so far because if Emerald City Comic Con reveals as a whole are anything like 2020's, then it's going to be a great con, and most likely our list will be flipped and turned upside down, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So anyways, we'll kick off with MD Shady like usual.
To get started at number 10, I have the Hot Topic exclusive Carnage. Like I said, this is a great looking pop, and I do think Carnage deserves to be recognized in pop form a little more, because really you see a lot of Venom stuff with the Venomized set, and obviously, like I had just mentioned with Miles Morales, just getting a ton of pops. So it's cool to see a Carnage, and this one looks very great.
Number 10 on my list, or at least number 10 so far, is the Hot Topic exclusive Deathstroke. I think the detail on this pop is pretty cool, but of course my personal reaction is a little low on this because I don't really know much about Deathstroke as it is, but I know that there is a little bit of hype, but not a lot of hype to make it at least in like the top 5 portion of this top 10 list. So Deathstroke at number 10.
Coming in at number 9, I can't actually remember the exact name for this pop, and that is the Rocker Batman. I think that pop looked pretty cool. I don't know, it's just cool to see Batman holding a guitar, and it's just a solid pop overall, so I thought it deserved to make the list.
Number 9 on my top 10 list is the Super Saiyan Gohan with sunglasses Funko Shop exclusive. Overall, I find the detail to be really cool, but my personal reaction, I don't really know much about Dragon Ball Z, and I kind of find it weird, like I mentioned, about the whole sunglasses gimmick. Will it be the new anime character eating ramen noodles? But it's low on my list, mainly because of personal reaction. But of course, there was some hype, clearly, because this thing sold out on the Funko Shop.
Coming in at number 8, I have the Target Con exclusive Bullseye with the Target Con shirt on. I mean, it's an ad icon. Kind of had to add it to the list. I love icons far too much to leave it off. And I don't have a Bullseye yet, like I had said in a past podcast. So I think this might be the one that I add to the collection.
Coming in at number 8 on my list is the Target exclusive, or Target Con, even though I don't think it's really recognized as an actual con per se, but Target Con exclusive Colonel Mustard from Clue. Detail's pretty cool on this pop. It gives me the vibe of that one character from Jumanji, which brought a little bit of a personal reaction, but I think at the same time, don't really know much about Clue, which is why it's low, but I know that there is hype because of the fact that this was a huge requested pop for the Clue lineup. So that's why I thought it deserved to be on my top 10 list, or at least for right now.
Moving on to number 7, I have the Funko Shop exclusive glow-in-the-dark Loki. Like I mentioned, this is a great looking pop. I know that Loki has a huge fan base. Everyone loves the character. And I think that there's just a lot of really, really great detail on this. And the subtle amount of glow-in-the-dark is just perfect for this pop.
Coming in at number 7 on my list is something you already mentioned, and I can actually say the name that you couldn't remember, and that is the Death Metal Batman Previews exclusive. I think you hit the nail in the coffin there. So cool to see Batman with the guitar, something different. There is some hype because now people want more death metal comic book characters, I guess, for the DC lineup. Shout out to filmmaker Mike, who mentioned in the comments he wants to see death metal Superman. So I'm curious to see some more of these death metal variants of DC characters.
And don't forget, if you guys haven't watched our podcast with filmmaker Mike after this video, go check that out. Moving on to number 6, I have a pop that you had mentioned already, and that is Colonel Mustard from Clue. When we talked about this pop originally, I mentioned that this was definitely my favorite character from Clue growing up. I don't know why. I think maybe thought his name was funny, but yeah, he definitely was hugely requested in the Clue lineup, and I'm so glad that we finally get to see him as a pop.
Coming in at number 6 on my list is the Target Con exclusive Skeletor on Throne Pop Deluxe. I think this thing is super detailed, one of the most detailed Skeletor pops that Funko has made yet. However, the hype was a little mixed though because of the fact that some people were like, man, this is a cool variant of Skeletor, but at the same time, Skeletor does have a lot of variants compared to other characters. I can't remember exactly the characters' names, but there are a lot of people who mentioned, let's see this character instead of Skeletor, and then another character. So there's a lot of people out there that are kind of against more Skeletor pops, which is understandable for a lot of lineup. I still think personally the Skeletor looks really, really cool, especially with his throne. So now we're at number 5.
Can you dig it, sucker? Coming in at number 5 on my list is the Target Con exclusive Skeletor in Throne. Yeah, you just pretty much said a lot of good things about this pop, which I don't really care to repeat. But one thing you left out is that this is in the Retro Toys lineup, and I think that that is why I'm so hyped for this pop, I guess. I love the Retro Toys lineup, and it's cool. I get it. We've seen Skeletor, but we've seen animation Skeletor. We haven't seen him in a toy version, even though it technically is basically just the same thing. But I do really, really like this pop.
Coming in at number 5 on my list, and is something that you already mentioned, which I feel like there's going to be a lot of repeats since there hasn't been many pops so far in February, and that is the Funko Shop exclusive glow in the dark Loki from Avengers Endgame. Really cool pop, like I mentioned. It is something new for the Avengers Endgame lineup specifically, which is really, really cool instead of seeing like a third variant of, let's say, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, something we've already seen previous. So it's cool that we're getting more characters.
Moving on to number 4, I have the Target Con exclusive Lord Licorice. We really wanted to see this when we heard that there was Candyland pops coming out, and now we see it, and there's just so much cool detail with that licorice. I really, really like this pop.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually totally forgot about Lord Licorice. Did not even add him to my top 10 list overall. I don't know where he would be, but I feel like, though, I'm just going to say this. Most likely, even if I put him on the list, he might leave the list because of Emerald City Comic Con pops. So I'm not really too worried. But, anyways, moving on to number 4 now is the Hot Topic exclusive Carnage. I think this looks great. Like I mentioned, which I'm not really going to so much repeat, but just the detail involved with it. And like you mentioned about how you see part of the symbiotes going to the Cletus Cassidy side of the pop, which is really, really awesome detail. I'm sure there's got to be a bunch of hype for this pop. And then just my own personal reaction, because I'm looking to get a complete set of Carnage, even though I'm kind of failing miserably right now.
Moving on to number 3, I have the Funko Shop exclusive Pietro from WandaVision. Like I mentioned, there's just a lot of really, really good detail in this pop. I like the pose. It makes sense for the character, and I'm a pretty big fan of WandaVision, so when this pop got announced, I was like, yes, this is sweet.
Coming in at number 3 on my list is the Target Con exclusive Flocked Tails. The Tails pop looks really, really cool. I love the idea of them making it flock. Totally makes sense. Except my personal reaction, a little low on this because, of course, I'm a huge Knuckles fan. Although Tails is cool, I would have rathered Knuckles, especially like you mentioned on the podcast we discussed this about, which I think was last week, I believe, actually. It would have made sense to do Knuckles for Target Con because Knuckles is red. And also, it's not really much of a mold change compared to the original Tails. Could have been higher if it was a little different. Maybe the tail possibly should have been moving around with this pop, but they did add the little hair on top, which I'll give it that.
Now we're getting to number 2, and that is the 10-inch Galactus with detachable Silver Surfer. This thing looks really, really cool. People were requesting that he would be in a 10-inch form, considering he is a very large character. I love the fact that there's a detachable Silver Surfer rather than kind of just being, I guess, attached would be the word. It's cool because you get, like DK would say, that kind of 2-for-1 deal, even though we have just learned that it is now called Pop and Buddy. And I really like the metallic on this thing. I think it looks super cool, and I think I'm definitely going to be picking it up.
Number 2 on my list is Pietro Maximoff from WandaVision, Funko Shop exclusive. Looks really cool. Such a huge surprise element that we kind of get this pop right after the episode, which I guess kind of makes sense. They probably had the pop already in development like way before the episode was released, and they just wanted to release it after. This looks really cool, but I don't know. I just feel like my number 1, at least right now, deserves to be number 1. So I'm kind of curious on what your number 1 is, which I, for some reason, think I already know what your number 1 is going to be.
Number 1 on my list is the Target Con exclusive Flocked Tails. I am kind of a super fan of Sonic, so finally being able to get a Tails pop that isn't that OG Tails that honestly doesn't look amazing, and now we have this really, really cool one, and it is flocked, which I love. There's just too many great things to say about this pop. Yeah, if his tail was spinning around or he was like in a flying position with a little clear stand, that'd be hella cool too. But I'm super glad we got this version right now.
My number 1, the previous exclusive, limited to 20,000 piece, 10-inch Galactus with Silver Surfer metallic pop. This pop looks great. So many people are hyped for this because people have been wanting a 10-inch Galactus pop since the recent wave of Fantastic Four pops came out, and I think it's well deserved. And it's limited to 20,000 pieces. So it's going to be a little hard to find. I don't think it's going to be too hard to find, but it is going to be a little hard to find. But I also don't think on the secondary market it's going to be super expensive because it's previous exclusive. It deserves to be number 1, but for some reason, I don't think it's going to stay number 1 by the time we're finished with February, though. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of this week's podcast. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comments section below on what your favorite pops are so far for the month of February, even if it's Emerald City Comic-Con reveals. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on the channel in the future. And press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at A Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's podcast, and we hope to see you guys next week for our fandom-related podcast specifically titled Gotta Catch 'Em All, the Pokemon Podcast. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Peace in, peace out.